There is nothing to writing. All you do is sit down at a typewriter and bleed. Always do sober what you said you do, drunk. That will teach you to keep your mouth shut. There is nothing noble in being superior to your fellow men. True nobility lies in being superior to your former self. An intelligent man is sometimes forced to be drunk to spend time with his fools. Never think that war, no matter how necessary, nor how justified, is not a crime. Every man's life ends the same way. It is only the details of how he lived and how he died that distinguish one man from another. Happiness in intelligent people is the rarest thing I know. All things truly wicked start from innocence. The world is a fine place and worth the fighting for, and I hate very much to leave it. The shortest answer is doing the thing. If you are lucky enough to have lived in Paris as a young man, then wherever you go for the rest of your life it stays with you, for Paris is a movable feast. When people talk, listen completely. Most people never listen. Once we have a war, there is only one thing to do. It must be won. For defeat brings worse things than any that can ever happen in war. As you get older, it is harder to have heroes. But it is sort of necessary. My aim is to put down on paper what I see and what I feel in the best and simplest way. I know now that there is no one thing that is true. It is all true. Cowardice is almost always simply a lack of ability to suspend functioning of the imagination. All our words from loose using have lost their edge. For a long time now I have tried simply to write the best I can. Sometimes I have good luck and write better than I can. It's none of their business that you have to learn how to write. Let them think you were born that way. A writer of fiction is really a congenital liar who invents from his own knowledge or that of other men. I rewrote the ending to Farewell to Arms, the last page of it, 39 times before I was satisfied. That terrible mood of depression, of whether it's any good or not, is what is known as the artist's reward. But man is not made for defeat. A man can be destroyed but not defeated. Courage is grace under pressure. The best way to find out if you can trust somebody is to trust them. The world breaks everyone, and afterward, some are strong at the broken places. I love sleep. My life has the tendency to fall apart when I'm awake. I like to listen. I have learned a great deal from listening carefully. Most people never listen. There is no lonelier man in death, except the suicide, than that man who has lived many years with a good wife and then outlived her. If two people love each other, there can be no happy end to it. There is no friend as loyal as a book. Never mistake motion for action. In modern war, you will die like a dog for no good reason. Never go on trips with anyone you do not love. Time is the least thing we have of. We are all apprentices in a craft where no one ever becomes a master. Prose is architecture, not interior decoration, and the Baroque is over. Fear of death increases in exact proportion to increase in wealth. There is no rule on how to write. Sometimes it comes easily and perfectly. Sometimes it's like drilling rock and then blasting it out with charges. When writing a novel, a writer should create living people not characters. A character is a caricature. To be a successful father, there's one absolute rule. When you have a kid, don't look at it for the first 2 years. Hesitation increases in relation to risk in equal proportion to age. I learned never to empty the well of my writing, but always to stop when there was still something there in the deep part of the well and let it refill at night from the springs that fed it. The only thing that could spoil a day was people. People were always the limiters of happiness, except for the very few that were as good as spring itself. You're beautiful, like a mayfly. Why should anybody be interested in some old man who was a failure? If a writer knows enough about what he is writing about, he may omit things that he knows. The dignity of movement of an iceberg is due to only 1/9 of it being above water. I wake up in the morning and my mind starts making sentences, and I have to get rid of them fast, talk them or write them down. All my life I've looked at words as though I were seeing them for the first time. Bullfighting is the only art in which the artist is in danger of death, and in which the degree of brilliance in the performance is left to the fighter's honor. On The Star, you were forced to learn to write a simple declarative sentence. This is useful to anyone. Newspaper work will not harm a young writer and could help him if he gets out of it in time. After you finish a book, you know you're dead. But no one knows you're dead. All they see is the irresponsibility that comes in after the terrible responsibility of writing. The game of golf would lose a great deal if croquet mallets and billiard cues were allowed on the putting green. That is what we are supposed to do when we are at our best. Make it all up. But make it up so truly that later it will happen that way. I don't like to write like God. It is only because you never do it, though, that the critics think you can't do it. Wars are caused by undefended wealth. When I have an idea, I turn down the flame as if it were a little alcohol stove, as low as it will go. Then it explodes, and that is my idea. No weapon has ever settled a moral problem. It can impose a solution, but it cannot guarantee it to be a just one. Once writing has become your major vice and greatest pleasure, only death can stop it. You can wipe out your opponents. But if you do it unjustly, you become eligible for being wiped out yourself.